Hello. Hi everyone. Good morning. So guys, as part of the today's session, we are gonna see a couple more assertions for the today's session. We have already seen a few assertions in the previous session. In continuation with that, let us see couple more assertions with some examples in the today's session. For which I was just taking this API which is retrieving all the employees information. So what I'm gonna do right now is I just wanna do certain keywords basically. Furthermore, keywords that I wanna gonna use on this particular response body itself. So the first keyword that I wanna use out over here is a deep. So deep basically when I wanna use here is whenever you wanna validate a specific property present inside the nested JSON objects. Ideally, whenever there are multiple JSON objects are there inside a response, in such a cases, which I can say that if my response is of a complex nested payloads, in such situations, I can use this particular, okay, I can use this particular deep keyword. Okay, so what I have done right now is, so if you see right now, this is my response. Okay, this is my response whenever I hit that particular API. I converted into this JSON, and this is the JSON response that I can see in a proper format. What I want to do right now is whether I want to check whether my ID is having a one value in the response or not. Okay, so here what I'm gonna do right now is and right match. Okay, so what are we gonna do from the response? Contains. So contains means basically it will check whether this particular chunk is there or not. Okay, so what I'm gonna do right now in the data, see basically in the data, it has an ID. So in the data, okay, it has a multi-dimensional arrays. Okay, it has a multiple sets of values, and among those the one value, or I can say that ID, for which there is a one. Okay, check whether ID is having a one in this particular response or not. So let me try to run my program as a Cucumber feature this time. It's getting executed, and let us see this particular outcome right now. Okay, the response is passed. Okay, what I'm doing right now means, if you see here, the ID value is ranging from 1 to, okay, ID is ranging from 1 to 24. So I'm giving a 101. Wantedly, I just want to cross check whether it is working or not. And even along with that, in the data, it also has an employee name. So get this employee name. Okay, so in this employee name, I want to compare with this particular value. Okay, I want to compare this employee name with this particular value. Perfectly all right. Now, let me try to run the script. Ideally, right, as 101 is not there, hence it will fail the test script. Anyways, let me try to run this particular feature. In this situation, the script should fail at this particular point. Okay, so as this is a public API, we are getting a too many attempts error. So which means, in a particular period of time, there are only certain times we need to hit this particular endpoint. So that's the issue. But whenever we are trying to hit with 101, right, it will throw some exception. So see, if you see the response that you got from your endpoint, right, it is nothing specific to the assertions that we are passing. Too many attempts within a less span of time, you are trying to request this particular server multiple times. That's what I'm getting this. Okay, that's fine. So I just changed it to reverted back it to 1, and I compared with the ID and as well as an employee name. You guys can cross check it by changing that particular value to some other values for ID, and you can compare it to. Okay, you can do a comparison in that particular value too. Okay, perfectly all right. And then if you see this particular, the previous scenario that we have created, in which we are trying to print these values, right? Copy this previous scenario that we have created, come back here. For the time being, let me comment it out. Okay, for the time being, I'm just commenting it out. So here, guys, what we are doing right now in this particular employee, okay, or I can say that I'm trying to print the employee details. So here I can use a match keyword. Rather than using a print, I just changed it to a match. As in, when you are using a match, you can use a contains, or you can also use an equal to. Okay, so let us see the first employee salary here from this particular list. Okay, the first employee salary is this value. Okay, so I'm just comparing this value, and the double equal to means it's comparing the content. Okay, so it's trying to compare the name to. Okay, that's fine. Enough. I don't want all these assertions. I just removed it. So what I have done is, earlier in a previous example we used a contains. Now I'm just using this equals to. Let me try to run this particular chunk and see how this is going to work. Okay, cool. Now, see, it executed successfully and the assertions got passed. To confirm whether it is working properly or not, here, this name, instead of this guy, I'm changing it to my name. Okay, I just changed it to my name. That's it, guys. So you can also use a double equal to, which is used to compare that particular value, or okay, or we can also use a contains as well. Either of these things we can use. Let me try to run my feature file and see how this is gonna work. Okay, so run as, this time it should fail. My expectation is it should fail. Okay, again I'm getting this too many. Okay, again I'm getting this particular too many requests, but anyways, okay, let us see this particular stuff. Let's wait and let me try to rerun it. Okay, I'm just trying to rerun it and let us see this. Okay, it's trying to execute. See here, this is not matching. This is the actual value and this is you are expecting. Perfectly all right. Let me comment it out this scenario. I don't want to use it right now. And here, let's come back to this previous scenario that we have used. So what we have done basically in the response, we used a deep and we just validated those values. Okay, perfectly all right. Okay, and even if you see the response body, if you see the response body, you have a header. Okay, you have a header and you have a content type as an application. Okay, even if you want to validate that, I can validate this particular chunk too. So what I'm gonna do right now is and match header. Okay, what is my header? I'm going with this content type. Okay, I'm just going with this particular content type. And what is the value that you are expecting from this content type? This is what an application JSON is. Okay, this is what an application JSON is. Even I can compare this header, response header also using this particular chunk. Okay, fine. See, if you see this particular response, basically, the data size is 24. So, which is an array. The data is having an array of values inside that. So, the next thing is how exactly I can compare the size of that particular array. That's gonna be my next point. How exactly I'm gonna compare the size of that particular array means. So, again, I'm gonna use the match. In the response, I wanna compare it with the data and it should be equal to, as we are specifying the size as a 24. See here the data size it's saying as a 24. That's the reason I'm just giving it as a 24. So response dot data, that the size is equal to 24. When I run my test script this time, it should execute and it should be printing these values. Okay, so which means it's gonna compare that particular chunk and it's gonna validate it. So to cross check from your end, right, you can also do an assertion here by changing this particular value to 23. I'm not doing that particular thing right now. The reason is most of the times I'm ending up with a too many requests exception. That's the reason. To get rid of that, I'm not changing the negative test case, which you guys can try it out from your end. Okay, fine. Perfectly all right. Now, the next point what I want to do right now is I have inside the data, there are 24 sets of employee names, right? 24 sets of ID, employee name, employee salary, employee age, and a profile image. I just want to compare employee name. So here, what I'm going to do right now is match each, okay, response dot data. Okay, fine. So here in each response, so here I'm using a wildcard character, which is a regular expression as a star dot. I'm comparing with this employee name. Okay, this is equal to, okay, this is equal to, or I can also use a contains Surendra. So what I'm gonna do right now, match each in the data, how many sets are there? Check whether at least Surendra is there in that particular list or not. So here, okay, let me try with the Surendra first and then we will change to an actual set of a value too. Okay, so let me run my test script right now and it's executing. See, basically, if you see right now, buddy, so your assertion is a failed. The actual contains these set of values, out of which Surendra is not there. Okay, out of which Surendra itself is not there. Then how I am gonna convert this particular line with this line? What I got in the console is how many employee names are there. All those things I retrieved as an index itself. Now here, what I'm gonna do right now, and match response dot data of a regular expression dot employee name. Okay, on this particular employee name is equal to, I'm just comparing with this particular array. So what I have done right now, I'm just giving my employee name with this particular value. That's it, as simple as it is. So which means in the response here in the data, there are 24 employee names. Star itself means it's a regular expression. Rather than specifying the index, I'm just specifying this regular expression, and all the employee names should match with this particular employee names in the same order itself. So let me change this, or let me try to run this program, and when the script got executed, this time it got a passed. For suppose what I have done is, let me change this order. For the time being, I just changed this particular order, guys. The first and second, I just changed this order. How this is gonna work means, if the response is in the same order or not, only it will check. Even if the order got changed, even it will return as a failures. Let me check it out. Let me run as this particular chunk and let us see how this is gonna work. Okay, too many attempts, ideally this will fail. Okay, you can give it a try. So you can check with these negative values, sorry, not a negative values, with a less value or a greater value on that particular index, and even you can check with this particular order also. In either cases, your scenario will fail, guys. Okay, perfectly all right. So this is the way how exactly we can add an additional assertions to your program. Okay, perfectly all right. See you again in the next session with a couple more examples. Thank you. Bye bye.